Backing tracks, metronomes, new gear. What is the best thing that you can invest in to help you progress as a jazz guitar player? In today's lesson, I'm going to be teaching you how to use one of my favourite practice tools to better your jazz guitar playing. I'm excited to show you this, so let's get straight into it. Greetings jazz guitar gurus, my name is Jamie Holroyd. I'm the founder of jamieholroydguitar.com, which is a blog, podcast and video lessons all geared to helping you become a jazz guitar player. And if you haven't done so already, then please consider hitting that subscribe button below so you can get free access to all the new lessons which I post. So the best tool, or one of the best tools that I think you can certainly use as a jazz guitar player to get better in the practice room is one of these things. This is a loop pedal, so I'm just going to hold that to the camera, let it focus in so you guys can check it out. And this has been one of the best things that I've recommended to my students and use in my own practice routine to really help me with time, working on comping, all different things that I'm going to show you in today's lesson. So we are going to be doing things in two ways. The first way is I'm just going to be giving you a quick zoom in as to how this looks when it's kind of connected up there, so you can see how easy it is to use, because like me, I don't really use pedals at all, to be honest with you, and I really had to kind of think twice about using this one because I didn't want to have a bunch of cables flying around, and I didn't want something that was going to be difficult to use. So I'm going to show you exactly how simple this is to use and to set up with a zoom in. Then I'm going to show you 4 ways which is really going to help you use it in your jazz guitar practice routine to help you become a better jazz guitar player. If you do like this pedal, this is the Boss RC3, the Boss RC3, and it's available on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk through both of the links below, and they are affiliate links, so if you want to help support the channel and do what I do, then I greatly appreciate it if you could check those out. The RC3 is a little bit different from the RC1. The RC1 is a little bit cheaper than the RC3, but you can't record quite as long. I think you maybe only have 2 or 3 minutes to record on that, where this has a lot of loop time. I can't remember exactly how much, but I think it's at least maybe an hour or 2 or something like that, and I've struggled to even use a small amount of the space, and I've never run out of any of the space. So you can record several tracks on this one should you need them, and obviously if you ever want to use a looper at a gig in any way, shape or form and have pre-recorded loops, then the RC3 is fantastic for that as well. So that would be the one which I would recommend. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here is a close-up shot of my Boss RC3 here. You can see that I've got the guitar plugged into it, then it's going out into my amp, and there's the power bank. I apologise for the mess of cables here. This is underneath my desk, and I have this connected up all the time so I can use it for both YouTube videos and also for teaching online over Skype. So it's very simple to use. Once it's plugged in, all you basically do is you hit the stomp there to record. So basically, if I just show you my hand here, I've got a pre-recorded loop there in already, so if I just stomp on that, that'll start playing, so you guys can hear that. And if I want to stop it, I have to press it twice like that. Okay, so it's once to play and then it's twice to stop. Now if I want to delete this and get a complete fresh loop, all I have to do is press and hold down like that, and that'll clear. As you can see how there, clear that, so that you can basically start a fresh loop again. So it's very easy to do and to navigate. And of course you can also get this and plug it into a computer as well. If you want to transport any of these tracks and listen to them on your computer, you just need a very simple cheap cable to do that. So that's the close-up shot of the RC3. The first way in which you can use a loop is to make sure that you don't speed up or slow down too much during a performance. Now, jazz, of course, is an imperfect music. Some of the greatest records that we all know and love speed up or slow down slightly during a performance. So, of course, you know, we can never be absolutely perfect unless we Steely Dan, but striving for perfection is certainly an enjoyable thing that we can do, and we want to try and be as close to this as what we can when playing. And of course you can use things like a metronome to do this, but we're not going to have a metronome there ticking away when we're playing on the bandstand, so it's really good to test your own sense of time. So one way in which you can do this is by using a loop pedal and start with a shorter form. Don't start with something like a ballad, you know, a 32 bar ballad, because that's going to take ages to play through, and if your time isn't that great to begin with, then that's a tougher one to crack generally. So start with like a medium or medium up kind of blues, which is obviously just a short 12 bar form to work on. So if I was working on this, what I would do is I would play just one chorus around the blues by itself, and then following that I would record the second one on the loop. So the first chorus kind of eases me into it, then the second chorus kind of, you know, I'm nice and warmed up and I can lay that down then. So here's an example of using the loop for a blues. And one thing you want to be aware of when doing this is that you want to get your foot ready to click on beat 1 of the repeating bar. So here I've got my guitar on my lap here, and I've got my pedal there ready to click on beat 1 when I go around the second time a jazz blues. So here's an example of that. So as you can hear now, the loop's going, so I can now test what it's like to play over that and see if I've speeded up or slowed down. I probably sped up a little bit, but hopefully it wasn't too bad upon reflection. So yeah, you've just got to basically click that loop pedal once when you start recording, and then once again when you stop. So you've just got to be wary of what's going on besides you playing. So obviously start with a song that you're very comfortable with and which has got a shorter form, rather than starting with a big ballad, because that's not a good one to start with. So start with a short form, and that's the first way to do it, is to test that you're not speeding up or slowing down too much. The second tip here is to practice difficult sections that you can do. So let's take for example a tune like Autumn Leaves. Now, tune like Autumn Leaves, AAB structure. If I asked you what is the most difficult section of that tune, I think that many of you would agree that the C section, especially that descending figure, the 3, 6, 2, 5, is certainly where things get a little bit more difficult. So let's picture this for a minute. You're practicing improvising over Autumn Leaves. You maybe practice improvising on this for 10 minutes a day. Now, if you get a backing track or something like that, and you play through the entire form, and you can really play well over major and minor 2-5-1s, that's not a problem. What is difficult is outlining that 3, 6, 2, 5. Then think about, of that 10 minutes, how much time do you actually spend improvising on the part that you cannot do, that small percentage of the tune that creates all your problems, that small maybe 5 or 10%, which is creating the 80-90% of your improv problems. You're probably only going to be spending maybe like 30 seconds of that 10 minutes, a minute tops, improvising over that short bit of music. So the benefit to a loop is, of course, you can just record those chords and work on that, right? So if I clear my loop now from the jazz blues example, I'm just going to hold my foot down on the pedal like that. And now what I can do is I'm going to just take that 3, 6, 2, 5 turnaround. And I'm going to add 2 bars of C major at the end. So here we go. Let's see how that came out. Okay, so I can try that one again. And this is a good kind of live explanation as to what you can do. Sometimes what I accidentally did there, I played the E minor going back into the second one. So I'm going to try that again and see if I can do it. And this is, just part of the trial and error process that you've got to go through. You don't always create a perfect loop, and that's kind of something that I wanted to reflect here on camera. So here we go again. So So that's not too bad. So that's what you can do right now. I could spend all my 10 minutes just working on that one part that I cannot do. And of course this is true of many of the jazz standards, like for example Green Dolphin Street. The C section on that, especially, well, the entire C section is much more difficult to improvise over than the entire tune. So if I just spent my 10 minutes working on what I cannot do, that's going to give me the best results. Likewise with rhythm changes, that's a less extreme example, but the A sections are generally more challenging than the bridge, right? So if I just record that 8-bar loop of the rhythm changes A section and play over that, that's going to give me more bang for my buck. And of course I can, play these at whatever tempo I want, right? I don't have to go rummaging around YouTube wasting time for a backing track. If I'm working on a difficult piece of music, I can play it nice and slow. And then when I feel confident, I can increase the tempo of the chord changes. Okay, so that's the second reason you can loop different sections of difficult tunes. Sorry, you can loop difficult sections of different tunes. You don't have to go through the entire tune every time. The third reason is that you can record a melody. Now, recording a melody is not something that's often talked about when using a loop pedal. Often it's the other way around, where you're actually recording chords and you're playing melody and improvising on top. But as jazz guitar players, most of us spend our time actually comping, so it obviously makes sense to try and practice that. And there isn't many resources, that I found at least, which actually have melodies to practice over. So you can actually record a melody on the loop and then try and play some chords over that to practice your comping skills. So here's an example of that. Now on the loop pedal, I've just recorded the song called Move, which is most notably famous because of the Hank Garland recording. It was originally composed by Denzel Best, which is a fast kind of bebop tune. So if I want to practice my comping over that, I can do so. So I'm just going to play the loop now so you can hear the melody. Alright, so now I'm going to try and practice some comping over that. So let's see how this goes. This is all kind of live and unrehearsed, so let's see what happens. Alright, so that's an example as to what you could do. You could do that with any melody that you like, and the good thing about the Boss RC3 is that you can adjust that volume as well on the melody. So if I want to go and adjust that and crank the volume of the melody up, I can make that really loud so that my chords are nice and quiet underneath to get a nice balanced sound to practice the comping over. The fourth and final reason is that you get an instant playback as to how you actually sound in reality. Now, of course, you can record yourself on your phone or your webcam, but that's not the same as hearing yourself through your own amp. And of course, when you're working on solo arrangements, we get really bogged down into playing them that we don't actually pay much attention to how they actually sound from the audience perspective. And of course, there's nothing more real than hearing your own sound from your own amp. So you can use this, say if you're working on a chord melody, hit record like that, and then you can play a tune. Just 4 bars of a tune, and I can stop and it should play back. So you can listen to that and you might think, you know what, I want to play that in a more quicker way. Maybe with a fill. But you know, that gives you the idea of how you actually sound. When you use a loop pedal, you can make decisions like that and you get a really good indicator as to how it all comes out on the bandstand. So those are the 4 reasons. Like I said, I think the loop pedal is a great addition to any practice rig, and I think that as well as using it with, you know, the metronome and backing tracks, it makes a really good addition to your practice room resources. It feels very organic to play over, and it's great fun to have and use as well. And like I said, if you want to check out the one that I use, which is the Boss RC3, those affiliate links there are in the description below. So if you decide to get one and use one of those links, then I tremendously appreciate you supporting the channel. So any questions, let me know, but thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next class.